that big, bro.
My shit's big too, yeah.
I
Shining.
know, mine too. That's why I got the same thing.
We're live.
You see me in public, it's not that big.
Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Bridging the Gap between Black men and Black women. We have a few different guests on tonight. So can you please introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Kawanda Miller. I am tuning in from Tennessee, Chattanooga to be exact.
I am Erica, tuning in from Las Vegas.
Oh, I'm just tuning in from Vegas too.
Sorry.
Introduce yourself, John. John,
Is my
did you
mic muted?
introduce?
Yes.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I'm just Doug. I'm coming from Las Vegas. How y'all doing?
Good, good.
Okay, I welcome each and every one of you to the show tonight. Tonight's topic or subject is texting, and the reason I picked this subject, and you know I always have a reason, but I would like to get your honest perspectives on what you believe, the reason behind why some people prefer to text as opposed to talk on the phone or video chat. You know, when we have so much technology at our disposal and yet we choose to text, and you know, everybody doesn't have the same composition as far as grammar goes. So oftentimes texts are misconstrued because of the way people text. So you know, we can't use ebonics on everything. I know a lot of people use acronyms to communicate on this texting system, but to me, it's not a formal way of communicating. So, what is your perspectives on that?
I believe that a big part of it is just social media in general. Because, like, social media has people, like, behind closed doors. They're not used to interacting in public with people. So phone calls and FaceTime calls are more intimate and texting isn't. So I feel like social media has people relying more on texting as a communicating without really communicating kind of thing, if that makes sense.
So let me ask you this question, Erica, and I agree with you 100% on that. So if phone calls and video chatting is more, if you say, intimate,
Mm-hmm.
and texting is just kind of like whatever, why do people say they're engaged in supposed to be relationships or building relationships and they still use that form of communication?
I don't know. I feel like it's just also convenience kind of thing. Because
Yeah, I agree.
like just because of social media, it's more convenient to like go on your phone and send a message rather than picking up a phone call or
Well, y'all can chime in whenever you want.
I agree with Erica on that concept. I do feel like video chatting and phone calls are more intimate, and I think people are just, you know, used to communicating that way through text. It's easier. It's just more convenient. You know what I mean? And then you prioritize your phone calls. Like, you know, you're, of course, you're not going to use ebonics or when you're talking to someone from a job. You know what I mean? Like you would a friend. But I feel like the more you communicate, like talking on the phone, I don't know. It's like an old school way, I want to say, of doing, because that was the only way that people knew. Now it's like it's more modern to text. Like you could text and you know, some people, they could express themselves better through texting, in my opinion.
So what happens when the person on the other end has conveyed that is not their choice of communication?
to me, I feel like that's a preference. If you don't like texting and someone feels like texting is a part of their life, then you two aren't, something's not compatible there on your end because, I don't think neither is wrong. I don't think neither is wrong. But like I said, a relationship with somebody, of course, you're going to want to hear their voice and talk to them and see them because that's a more intimate situation. But I'm probably not going to sit on the phone every day with my girlfriends or something or a friend, because I have a life going on. You know what I mean? I might text them every day. Good morning. How you doing? It's just quicker. But unless it's like a level of importance, I don't see a reason where you just really have to be on the phone. And, I could be wrong, but
I don't know. I personally think everything you and Erica both said has merit to it, but then there's a portion of that I can't embrace and I don't agree with, and I'm gonna tell you the reason why. If it's one thing when you're communicating with people and that's your means of being convenient, as you express. It's another thing when you're trying to establish something and it's through texting. I'm talking about, and unless you're real good at grammar, I don't think everybody should text. Even though this may be the thing that everybody's doing, everybody doesn't do it. We do it as a means of convenience, as you said, but yet in the same token, so often our text is misconstrued because it's not composed, the grammar is not right. And you may mean one thing, but when I read it and the way it's composed, then I interpret it in a totally different manner. And even though that may be the case, I personally think when you meet people online, particularly, I think a lot of people hide behind texts. Why? Because they're not who they claim to be.
I don't think it's necessarily that they're hiding behind text because, like, that's not who they are. Like, I'm speaking from personal experience. If I don't feel comfortable opening up to a person in person or like through a phone call, I'll send it in a text because then I'll have a chance to wait for their response and not like a live reaction from them, if that makes sense.
Yes, I agree.
Like if I'm waiting or like if I'm getting to know somebody, if I send something through a text, the worst I have to think is like, oh, they're just not going to respond or text back. Not like, oh, we're going to be on a phone call. I'm going to tell them something I'm thinking. And then I have to hear their backlash like live and right there.
Yeah. I love that, Erica. That's on point. Yeah.
So let me pose this question right here. I like that too, but I got to put it to the test. Here's the thing. Okay, if you're that shy and timid, and I'm not speaking particularly about you, I'm just speaking
but I am. I'll admit that.
Yeah. Okay. If you're shy and timid and you're afraid of what may come across the phone is not very pleasant, why did you even bother communicating?
Okay, so I'm not saying like,
I want to answer that one.
Okay, that's
It's easier. Like you could be shy and timid, on the phone, and you won't say stuff. But when I got time to text and think about it, like once I send that text, it's gone. That's it.
Right.
Like all you waiting for is a response. Like I don't have to.
But Josh, how do you have a communication? And I'm gonna give you an example. Me and you talking, right? I text you, "What's up, bro? How you doing today?"
Yeah.
You say, "Oh man, I'm just chilling with the family." And then I said, "Okay, man, we need to get together." So now that dialogue has been created, and then all of a sudden you disappear for about an hour, and then you come back on and say, "Oh man, my bad." And then we start texting again. You disappear again. How is that communicating?
I think it's a level of
I do the same
priority
thing on the
too
phone.
that has to be.
It's worse on the phone for me.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry about that.
I do the same thing on the phone. It's worse.
Say that again.
Like it just means I got busy.
Right, exactly.
But
Um,
okay,
Like
Maybe
maybe
somebody
somebody was
means
doing something.
if that means what you say it means, why is it so hard to just say, hey, I got to go and do something, I'm gonna get back with you. I don't want to leave you on hold. You know, I know we texting back and forth. That's the issue I have with all this texting. Me, as soon as I get a chance all day, I'm going to take that shit off my phone. So if you don't call me, you won't be able to get in touch with me. That's my preference.
I think you're coming from a more personal standpoint, which is
Yeah,
understandable. It seems real personal because,
It
like,
is
okay,
personal.
I understand that, and it might be like, and it could be personal, but like, okay, say if I get a text to where I know I have a Zoom meeting coming up, or I'm gonna, I'm gonna be available to take those calls. But if we're just getting to know each other or something like that, and we're talking of ideas, or it's okay to take, pauses in between those texts. That's why they're texts. It's not like you're being put on hold. It's like it's a convenience thing. I might have the last text left there, but once you text back, the response is there for me to read, and that's how you keep doing it. Like being on the phone, I mean, to me, I don't know, I might not be sounding right how I'm saying it, but I think that's like a personal thing. Like I'm gonna take offense to that if it's like a boyfriend. If it's somebody that I'm really interested in and I'm looking for an intimate relationship with, I probably would take that personal, that when they pause or they disappear and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that. But if it's like associates and stuff, I think the texting is just a level of convenience for both sides. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
I feel like as far as texting, if you're like depending on the importance of the person, that depends how fast they get a response back. Like I
yeah,
know if I'm at work, if someone important texts me, I'll stop working to send a text back to them. So like if I'm getting to know somebody and I'm just like, oh, they're down here on this level still, or like, oh, I don't know them like that yet. I'm not gonna like risk my job to send a text back. But if it's someone
right,
I like or family or something like that, I'll take that. I'll respond like right away.
right, right. I agree. I agree with that.
Again, I agree with you because I do it oftentimes too. I think um, my
Gosh.
my gripe is simply this. I think it's rude to be in a conversation texting and just disappear. I don't care what you got, unless your house caught on fire, one of your kids just got ran over by a car. You know, it's just as easy as you conveyed those first texts to say, hey, I got something to go and do. I'm gonna have to get back with you later. Disappearing, you know, if you're
I
on the phone
disagree.
or we're in person and we're
Strongly
talking,
disagree.
you're not just gonna walk away. You're gonna say, excuse me, I got something to go and do. So what makes
Right.
it right to hide behind a text? I don't understand that. Maybe somebody can help me understand that.
It's different.
It's different.
Like
Like I could be not doing nothing one minute, and then like maybe I go to work or maybe I start driving. Like I get active.
Right.
So I didn't have time to text you and tell you like, hey man, I'm about to drive or whatever. You know, hey, I got to do this. Like sometimes shit just come up and we in the middle of a text.
Right.
But like that's the best part about texting. I could always get back to you. It's right there. Our conversation right
Right.
there. We can pick up where we left off.
Really?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the only reason, like on a phone, I feel like the only reason on a phone call they're like, oh, I have to give you a call back is because you're right there. But during a text, like you're not there. They don't have to respond right at that moment. They're not just gonna hang up and be rude, but like I don't think anyone thinks of not responding to a text message right away is rude, or saying like, oh hey, I'm gonna leave for a little bit. I think they're like, oh, I could come back to this conversation when I get a chance.
Exactly.
Yeah, I agree. I never looked at
That's the
it
way I
like,
look at texting. That's the way I look at it.
Well,
Like,
maybe I'm
oh,
just
well,
a
I see
little
that he
bit.
texted me, but I'm gonna hit him back when I get a chance.
Well, maybe I'm just a little dated when it comes to that, but you know that's still my preference. I just personally feel that when
excuse me for a second.
and I'm speaking in general but I'm also speaking personally also, you know, and I'm gonna give you an example. There's a few women, I don't want to say females because certain women have gotten upset by me using that terminology, even though, you know, I have the choice to say what I want. But my point is this: if I'm talking to someone and I'm engaging in a conversation, I think that person would feel the same way. Now I'm talking about personally now. I'm not talking about friendship wise. I think they would feel the same way if we're in a conversation texting back and forth and then I just disappear.
I think the best option for that then is a phone call. Like, don't text me. If it's that important, like if you feel like we just gotta have that conversation, don't text me. Like if it's important, don't hit me on the text because that means you got time.
Right, right. I agree with that. I think it is the level of importance too. You know, not to say that someone you're texting is not important, but you're gonna probably say, you know, I'm in the middle of something, or I'll call you back at a certain time if it's a real important, like priority phone call.
Mhm.
It's just not urgent to me.
Yeah.
Like if you got time to text, it's not that important.
Yeah, well, speaking also from a personal level, like yesterday, I was in a conversation with someone. I'm like, oh, like, how do you feel about me? What are your feelings for me and stuff like that? And they responded with their answer. But I couldn't even respond to it because I got caught up in some stuff. And like, I didn't tell them, oh, hey, I'm going to get back to this at a later time. But when I got a chance to reply, that's when I replied. I didn't think like, oh, this is kind of an important topic. I thought like, oh, I'm going through some stuff right now, so I'll get back to them when I could get to it.
So let me,
And
let
that
me ask you,
doesn't like knock their importance to me. It's just like I got busy and couldn't respond kind of thing.
do you remember when pagers were out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
remember that era? And then we went from pagers to what? The BlackBerry phone. That's when texting kind of really got
Like two
popular.
ways and shit like that.
Yeah. So my thing is, how
I
does
don't think we went to it that quick. I remember like, okay, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
You had bricks and shit, and you had
Yeah,
those
that's
big
what I
old
mean. We
phones.
had no
Yeah,
kids,
it
and
was a
you
lot of
know,
stuff in between it.
there wasn't Blackberries up front. You know, that came later. But yeah, I get it.
But
He
okay,
skipped a couple steps, but it's all right.
if I gotta get excuse though. But anyhow, how do we have so much modern technology before us today? Okay, that's just like we're on this podcast. Whoever thought, you know, we'd be in 3-4 different areas and then all talking together. Okay, so why do we still choose to
Evolution, bro. People evolve. We don't stay the same.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So why
Yeah, we're building. We're growing.
Okay, look, we got a comment from. Can y'all see this on the screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
You can?
I disagree strongly. I feel like you can get to know somebody better through texting because I got more time to think about like what I want to tell you. Like on the phone, you just in the moment. You know, that's cool sometimes, but if I really want to talk to you, like the best way to do it is through a text.
I agree with that also because I feel like I'm a closed off person, so I feel more comfortable talking about some things through a text message. So I feel like that allows people to open up more and express their thoughts more rather
So
than
what
like a
you
phone
saying? You're
call.
an introvert?
I'm a very introvert.
Same.
I'm kind of.
So
Well,
more than likely, I'd rather say something to a person through a text message rather through a phone call or in person because it's easier for me to get out what I want to say because I'm not thinking like,
but how do we bring a balance to this when you got people such as myself that I'm an extrovert? All right, so I can communicate exceptionally well. At least I want to believe I can. You know, so I would prefer to talk in person as opposed to texting. So how do we bring that balance to that?
Go ahead.
I was gonna say I think it's like, and no disrespect, but I think it's just the time that you came up in. like I came up in the 80s, so yeah, we had cell phones then, pagers, whatever. But my ex-husband, for instance, he's a lot older than me as well, and I showed him how to do his first text messages. You know what I mean? I showed him how to email and stuff. So all that stuff's new. He's great at it now, but I guess it's still kind of new to some people that didn't grow up using it. Like some of us grew up texting, so it's like a second nature to us to text. That's another way of communicating for
So
someone that's had a cell phone since they were 12 years old, you know?
So why hasn't your generation evolved?
I'm sorry?
Why hasn't your generation evolved?
I mean, technology wise it has, or we wouldn't be on this podcast.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is, I think John said it, that's evolution. Well, if that's evolution and that's how you came into this generation, okay, why haven't your generation evolved? Why are you still doing past tense things?
At the end of the day, I think it's just a preference thing. Like some people are still phone call people. I used to be a phone call person, but then like once like I had a kid and everything, there's a lot going on around me. I don't have the time to take out of my day to make a phone call because there's all these interruptions in the background.
Yes.
And so
Yes.
texting is more convenient and it's easier to like get a hold with a person through a text message. Because even with the baby screaming in the background, I could get across what I have to say without like stopping to calm the baby down or anything like that.
So basically what you're saying is texting is more of a valid way for you to communicate when you got things going on.
It's easier and more convenient because there's not distractions in the background or like, I just feel like there's multiple reasons why people might choose texting over phone calls, or some people like phone calls better than texting. Like when I was a phone call person, it's because I could get my point across easier. But now like I'm more into texting just because if I do have stuff going on, like it's easier for me to send a quick text message rather than stopping what I'm doing, stopping a conversation,
100%.
taking care of whatever.
Right. It's like a multitasking tool, I could still talk and cook and do everything through a text.
And don't have to stop.
Yep.
Okay,
I feel like you should make a schedule and set time aside if you want to talk to somebody on the phone.
Yeah, exactly. And even my mom,
Because me, I'm not a big like phone person.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about how do you set time aside to talk to someone?
Communication.
And I'm gonna tell you, if you keep seeing me looking down, I'm looking down for a reason, because this woman is texting me some of the same stuff that you're talking about, and she's not even watching the show. So it's like it's just kind of funny, man, because if I understand that we all live these expedient lives and we got a lot of things going on. That's fine and dandy. We're trying to shuffle things and keep our priorities in order. But there has to come a point, and I agree to everything y'all said. I'm not going to try to refute any of that. And as Magic said, it's a matter of preference. So if we're at home, okay, I don't have children running around my house. My kids are grown. And I understand, those that do. I've been there, done that. But at this time, if you get a moment, why can't we converse on the phone as opposed to, if there isn't no distractions going on in your house, as opposed to just sitting there texting? It takes more time to text and more energy to text than it does to talk. Right?
I disagree.
I don't have to stop what I'm doing to
so
text.
much more quicker. You know what I mean?
I don't have to stop what I'm doing to text you, bro.
Huh?
Like 100% disagree. Like you want me to take that one moment I got of freedom and be on the phone all day. That's what I'm hearing. You just told me I got one moment of freedom. I got one moment to kick it, and I got to put that phone
You
to my
hear
ear.
me?
Tripping.
Time is
I'm gonna
something
text
else.
you, man.
Yes.
I'm gonna kick it. I'm gonna do what I gotta do, and I'm gonna text you.
Yep.
Well,
Time is valuable, man, for real.
okay, I'm gonna let y'all have this one. Okay, you know,
Yeah, like if it's not important, man, why are we sitting on the phone? Like, let's not small. You could text me in small talk. Like, if it's not something
Yeah.
crazy important, then we could just text, bro.
but here's the thing: I don't even contact people unless I got something to talk about. So how do you
And then like, what is it? Is it
analyze
like
that?
important, or is it just like we just talking?
Right.
I'm talking about, how often have you known me to contact you just to talk because I'm bored?
I feel like that's a different situation. I feel like if people have something to talk about right in that moment, they'll answer a phone call. But the majority of the time, people want like the convenience of texting. Like if my mom wants to talk to me throughout the day, I'll text her. But if she has something like, oh, I need to talk to you right now, I'll pick up the phone for her or she'll call me. But other than that, we just communicate through texting.
Okay, I'm gonna give y'all that one. You know, y'all got that one. But I still stand on my preference is that she texts something else. Can y'all read that?
Yeah,
Yeah, no, I feel like
things are
texting
just,
is
it
like,
really is
I think it
generational.
is. I can agree with that as well.
You
yeah, I
know,
feel
so
like what Jonathan said, it is a evolutional thing. Like technology, everything, people are texting, social media, so it's killing like interaction in person, interaction through phone calls. And even though it's not a good change, it's like everyone's doing it now, so it's common. Like people aren't used to eye contact with a person in person, and like everybody hides behind a screen now. But I feel like since that's the normal, it's not that
that's
big of a
my
deal.
point. You know, I'm talking about y'all have some valid points, but it still doesn't take away from my concern that if you're going to communicate and that's your way of communicating, and you're communicating with a person that doesn't choose to communicate like that, where does the balance come in at? Where does the compromise come in at? Are you saying screw him? You communicate with me through text. If not, I don't have time.
Not necessarily. I feel like it's a communication thing. You have to talk about like whatever who you're getting to know. Like communicate with them. Oh, I prefer phone calls over text for this reason. Like, can we compromise and like talk sometimes and text sometimes? But otherwise, like if you meet somebody that's good with texting and you're good with texting, then it's not that big of a deal. But
Right.
two people who are like, oh yeah, I'm more of a phone call person. I'll talk on the phone with you all day. It's just about what
Well,
the person wants to do and they're like,
well,
however they communicate well.
I don't want to be on the phone all day because I have things I have to do. Also, I understand that. You know what I'm saying is the texting thing to me has become dated because um now I get texts all day, and especially when we're at work, and I don't even respond to them. Sometimes I won't even respond to them depending on what it is.
I'm the same way.
Can you read that?
I'll say a lot of people who are big texters aren't that good at communicating in person. Like a lot of people now avoid eye contact, or a lot of people have social anxiety and things like where they can't communicate in person. But since texting is such a big thing, that's how people prefer to communicate now.
Right.
And I'm not saying it's a positive thing, and I'm not saying like texting is the way to go, but since it is such a big thing and it's the normal, like that's how people prefer to communicate, even if it affects how they communicate in person.
Well, that makes a lot of sense, but again, it's a matter of preference.
Mhm.
Um, I just, the only thing that bothers me about it is when when I'm I'm trying to engage a person through texting, and the conversation may be of somewhat importance, because now what you're saying is what John said. This I'm gonna put this on you, John. You said if it ain't important, text me. You know, but if you're
Yeah.
texting and the conversation is of somewhat importance, and then you just disappear, how do you explain that?
It wasn't that important to me.
Yeah. Yep, I
Yeah, it was
agree.
probably more important to you, bro. Like, or maybe you was talking about some stuff I didn't want to talk about. Like, it wasn't that important to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, if it's something
It
serious,
has
I'm
to
gonna
be
be right there in the
mutual.
moment.
It
I
has
don't care.
to be
Yeah,
mutual.
I don't care what I'm doing, bro. I'm dropping everything. We talking about this. But
Yeah.
you know, sometimes it's more important to you than it is to me. So
So basically, it becomes what's important to who?
pretty much.
Is that what you're saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
So she said people have a lot of social anxiety. So what if I'm having a moment and I just need somebody to talk to? I know you don't like talking on the phone, so I'm texting you, and you say, well, okay.
It's not that I don't like talking on the phone. We can talk on the phone all day if it's about something. Like, I
If
just don't
it's
want to
about
bullshit
something.
on the phone.
I agree.
Like, if you having an issue, bro, like I'll calm you down. Let's talk. What's going on?
Yeah.
But if you just calling me to, you know, chit chat, talk, like I don't do all that. It's got to be about something, or we can text.
I don't know too many men that just call me in the chit chat.
I do. I know a lot of them.
I feel like if they have something to talk about, or like even if you need to talk about something, if at the end of the day, like if you need someone to talk to, if they care about you enough, they'll answer the phone regardless if they like texting, phone calls, anything. Like
Well,
that's
the reason I'm so adamant in my belief at this time is because when people text me or they call me and I don't answer, and then they text me and I don't answer, then it becomes an issue. Why are you avoiding me? You know, I need to talk to you. Okay, well, you haven't told me, and I know because I've engaged this person before, and I know that the conversation, as John say, don't really be about nothing. So I know it can't be important now, because if it was, you dial 911. You know, so if I don't respond, why is it a big issue when it comes to Vermont not responding, as opposed to how most of you think in your generation? That's what's got me kind of bothered, is because if I do what you're suggesting, then I'm wrong. I'm being rude and disrespectful. But when I comment and say, well, I don't like when people just cut off the conversation like that through a text. So you're saying it's a double standard?
I mean, are we talking about in relationship wise? Because it sounds like
I
both.
don't know.
You know what I mean?
Well, I'm speaking on
Yeah,
It makes
exactly.
all the difference in the world if you're talking about being in an
You
intimate
gotta
relationship with
be
somebody.
specific.
Okay.
What are we talking about?
Like, what are we talking about? Like, when? What?
Let me ask you this. So what do you consider to be an intimate relationship? Because if I'm in a relationship with a woman, one thing I'm not supposed to be doing is texting back and forth, unless I'm at work. So where did John left? Where's John at, Erica?
Oh shit.
he got kicked out.
He got kicked out. I didn't kick him out.
It did kick it. No, the internet or something. It said something went wrong and it kicked him out.
Tell him to log back in.
Log back in. Can you
But-
hear it still? Oh, he said log back in.
Rwanda, you know, to you,
Mm-hmm.
what would you classify as being intimate?
Of being intimate, like the act, but not technically talking about the act of being intimate, but we're talking about an intimate relationship. Okay, like someone that we share the same interests. We are both mutually into each other, and that we are seeking to get to know each other, meaning that we both know that we have a level of interest in each other to date or whatever, going, that's what I would consider like an intimate relationship. Like if I'm talking to a man I met and, I really like him and he really likes me, yeah, I'm going to talk on the phone with him more. I'm going to want to talk to him, and then once we become intimate sexually, then yeah, of course, that person, I'm going to want to hear from them every day. And maybe we could sit on the phone for hours and talk about nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's like I was saying about importance and stuff. Like someone who's super important to me, like I'll drop working, I'll drop whatever to like make time for them, talk to them. But if it's somebody like they're not that important to me at that moment, like if I am just getting to know them, why am I going to risk being on the phone at work, risk like stopping what I'm doing during the day just to give them attention kind of thing? Like,
yeah. I agree with that too. I think it is a level of energy and attention that comes off when you talk in person that doesn't come off texting. And I think that's what's missing from the texting. That you might get out of talking to someone. You can hear them laugh and they make you feel good, and yeah, it's like it's an attention thing too, because that's what you're focused on, I guess.
So what do you think, John?
I think it's an importance thing. Like, how important is this conversation? Do we got to have it right now? Like, is it something that's going on that I need to know about right now? Or are you just like hitting me up to see what's going on? Are we, if it's a relationship thing, like, is it something that we can't text about? Like, because even if I'm trying to get to know somebody, we could text all day. But just to sit on a phone all day, like, I'm a busy person, bro. Like, I don't know about nobody else, but I'm busy. Like, I can't be on the phone all day. It's easier for me to text you.
Well, where does the all day come in at? I'm not understanding that. Each and every one of you keeps saying all day. Where is that coming from?
All day just means like you can call me out the blue at 10 o'clock in the morning and we end up getting off the phone at, you could drag a conversation out talking in person.
You ever did that?
What?
You haven't been on the phone all day before?
No, I've been on the phone
for some hours.
That's what I want to know.
All day to some people, 4 hours.
Hours is all day, bro.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not a big phone user, we on the phone for 2 hours, an hour, that's all day to me.
Yeah.
Where does the time go? What have we talked about here?
Right.
What is this accomplished? Where are we at in life now?
How many men actually sit on the phone like that?
I would.
You'll be surprised.
I'm talking
it
about
just depends on the person. I think all of this depends on the person. Whether you're a caller or texter, like if someone gets into a relationship that has a different preference than them, they'll adjust to that person. Just if they're into that person and want to make it work, they'll adjust and make it work. Like if a texter gets with someone that
I like that. Compromise. Compromise. Yeah. Because give you an example. And this is not in relations to relationships, but when we talk at work, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, how you doing? What, briefly, and then we go our separate ways.
Just go. They cannot see you. Just go. My kids are so funny.
I understand that aspect of it, but I'm talking about when you're engaging in a conversation with a woman. How do you balance that out, man? Because just saying texting, I don't know, man. Me, because I've been to college and I study English and all that. Most of the people that I see text don't use proper grammar. They can't spell correctly. Okay, so how am I to decipher that when they may mean one thing and I interpret it as being something else? Explain that to me.
A lot of people got a lot of personality in their text messages.
Yeah.
So,
and I'm like
even if I'm not spelling correctly, even if I'm not like,
using
the right grammar, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying. You know what I'm trying to get to. And like, I feel like I could text better than I could talk to you because like some people have more personality in a text message.
But you're assuming that, John.
No, I'm serious. Some people just are better at texting than they are talking.
Okay,
Like you might see somebody in person and they quiet.
Okay, I
And they
understand the
like-
preference. That's their preference in communicating. But I'm saying, if you're not using proper grammar, we can take our phones and put them side by side and compare the incoming texts that's coming in, and I can guarantee you will say, "Man, what the hell is that? What do that mean?"
I mean, because some people aren't gonna.
we said-
Who are you speaking to that you have to have the perfect grammar with? Like, if I can understand if you're like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? That's what it is. That's the whole point of, you don't, if you're on the phone with someone of that level of importance or some type of professor or something, I could see you using perfect grammar, but like, no one's using perfect grammar when you're conversing.
What you're saying is the standards of academics have failed so low that we just supposed to drop down to that level because that's what everybody is on.
No,
No, I disagree.
not at all.
Look,
But
No,
let me
look.
tell you what it is.
Let me tell you what it
code
is.
switching, bro.
It's code switching, bro.
So if I know you like that, I might talk a little.
So if I know you like
in a
that,
professional
I might
setting,
talk a little
I'm gonna talk
different.
certain
You know,
way.
like
But
in a
if I know you
professional
and I
setting,
consider you the
I'm gonna
homie,
talk
I
a certain
might
way.
text you a
But if I
different
know
type of
you
way.
and I consider you the homie, I might text you a different type of way.
right. But you're gonna know exactly what I'm saying, you know?
You're
I don't-
assuming that, Kalanda.
Yeah, you
gonna know what I'm
saying.
I've never heard
You gonna know what I'm
anybody
saying.
say, I've never heard anybody like try to correct me on my grammar while I was texting them. Now I might use some different abbreviations or whatnot that they haven't caught up with yet, but I've never heard anybody, and like I said, I guess it depends on who you're talking to. Because I'm not gonna, worry about grammar when I'm texting a friend or someone that I'm trying to get to know, or my mom or my kids. That's not important.
Well, that right there shows you the different mentalities that people embrace and how people choose to live their life based on the ideologies that they incorporate into their life. Because there's no perfect human being in life. But my thing is this, and I'm gonna give you an example, and I don't want to get off this subject, but it's almost like I got a call the other day, and I think I told you this, from one of my homeboys, and he was telling me about they were having a neighborhood thing. Okay, that's just like me going backwards or going down to their level because I used to be there. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to do that. And I'm not
that's when it
saying,
becomes a preference thing. If somebody's not texting to your level of grammar, then you have a right to cut them off if that's what's important to you.
Mm-hmm.
exactly.
I think at the end of the day, it's just like preference of what everybody likes. Some people like phone calls, some people like texting. If you like somebody enough and want to get to know them enough, you'll compromise to just like anything in a relationship. Like one person likes to sleep in the dark, one person likes to sleep with the TV on. You got to compromise anything in a relationship to make it work.
Yeah, you're right. But what happens, Erica, when one person is not willing to compromise?
Then maybe like they need to find someone that is willing to compromise, someone who's willing to mold with them to make
More
things work.
compatible. Yes, I agree.
I agree. So my thing is, and the reason I brought this subject up today, and I don't disagree with anything y'all said thus far, is because I've met a few people, and this is their only way that they choose to communicate.
Mhm.
And me, I guess maybe y'all have this technique that I haven't developed yet, where I can't express myself through texting. And the reason I can't, because it would take so long for me to text the thing without my mind. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
And I think Kawana, you understand what I'm saying, because I think I conveyed that to you the other night when we were talking after the podcast that we had. So that's just for me. That's just my preference. I'm not mad at anybody. And when I said I'm gonna cut my text off, I'm not, because I text too. You know, I just prefer not to do it as often as other people do. You know, because I just think as adults, you know, and again, as adults, we all have different preferences. You know, that's just my way that I choose to communicate. Who's feet on the table?
And texters don't just not talk on the phone; they talk on the phone too. But you know, when it's convenient, when it's convenient for them. Because I talk on the phone too. Like, someone calls me at a certain time. What happened? I missed it. Did she call?
I missed it too, I guess.
You know what I'm saying?
She know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
But anyhow, yeah, I seen that, Erica. But I hear you though.
Who was it?
But if I've given anybody the impression that I want to discontinue a friendship or cut off a friendship based on texting, that's not the case. I'm just saying it's just not my top preference on communicating. And I think me and Kawana talked about this before, that because I went to school and I got all this education, that's my preference. I like talking. You know, texting, when I was in college, yeah, I was good at the dissertation and the essays and all that stuff, but that wasn't my preference. I would rather get up in front of class and talk as opposed to just sitting down writing essays and stuff. So I don't
think it's two things, bro. Is preference and evolution. Like,
Yeah.
it's changing, bro. Times are changing.
Yeah, it's definitely a preference thing.
Okay, come on.
It is. Look, I'm not gonna. Me and you have said on the phone before. Ramon, me and you have said on that phone, and it's like, it's kind of like when you get into one topic. Yeah, you might have called for one thing, or I contacted whatever for one thing, but you end up talking about 40 different things. You know what I mean? Which is fine. And if you have the time, you enjoy each other's conversation and you move on. I don't think it's like a person has to be less educated or hiding behind a phone because they prefer to text. You know what I mean? We're in two totally different states. Where I'm 3 hours ahead of y'all. It's midnight here already. You know what I mean? So that has a lot to do with it too, and like I said, it's just the importance. Like, if it's something that I have to talk to you about, or you have to talk to me about, I'll pick the phone up. If I have to step outside because the house is too noisy and my family's in here, you know what I mean? I don't mind doing that, but time is a big energy thing for me, and it's like I really kind of try to protect that, if that makes any sense. So that's my thing, and I'm talking just personally from my point of view. So I try to protect my energy,
Well,
oh shoot, she got kicked off when she was gonna say something.
Who?
Mine's about to. Hold up, we can fix that.
Well, like I said, I don't want anybody to feel that I'm trying to single anybody out, because that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm just kind of conveying my thoughts.
No, that's understandable. I was really afraid of this topic tonight because I said, really, Ramon? but you know what? We did good. Because at first I was like, there's no way you want to make this a topic. You know what I mean? But I see now just learn something, by just being on the
Well,
panel tonight. So
me and John talked today at work, and John can contest to this. What did I say, John? It doesn't matter whether we agree or not.
Agree
We're
or
friends.
disagree. Yeah. At the end of the day,
And
we still
that's
friends.
fine. That's fine. We're going to remain friends. We're not going to disrespect each other. We're not going to be rude to each other on this podcast. I know a lot of times people do that. I see that, but we're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So that's the reason I apologize if I came off that way, because I consider you.
No, not at all.
So it's okay. Y'all kind of put me in my place tonight, but it's okay.
it's just the truth. It's just the truth. That's all.
So it's all good. I understand. So maybe I may become a little bit more better texter. I don't know.
It's a thing of modern and traditional, nothing's wrong with talking on the phone. I actually, I do both, but I probably
It's
do
just really
text
convenient.
way more. It is.
Yeah.
I do both. I really do,
Yeah, I do both. It just depends on how important the conversation on the phone is, though. Like, we could text about bullshit all day, but if we on that phone, it got to be about something.
Yes, that time and energy is really got to protect it.
Yeah, it takes more time and energy. Like, I really got to focus on that conversation versus a text message where I could just I hit them back.
So
I do it at my own convenience.
So you're saying texting is more important than talking on the phone?
No, I'm saying texting is more convenient. Talking on the phone to me is more important. Like, if we're having a conversation on the phone, it's about something. Like, it got to be about, something that's going on. Like, it got to be an actual, we having a conversation. But if it's just, something that's not important, then we can text about that.
Right.
Because I'm super busy. So it got to be something worth taking away from my day.
Yeah.
I got to be able to feel comfortable stopping doing this to have this conversation.
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about, hey, everybody has their opinion, and that's what I like. And, I've always conveyed that to you all, and always will, that, this podcast is not about me. It's not about my opinion and about me expressing my opinion over your opinion. It's basically to create dialogue, because I've learned a lot tonight, believe it or not, because, coming into this, I told you this, Kawana, that I didn't agree with that way of communication, but if that's how people choose to communicate, and if I want to communicate, then I have to be a part of that trend.
Well, and then it just goes back to what exactly are you trying to maintain with that person? Is it an intimate relationship? Are you interested in dating someone? Then I can understand you saying, look, I'm not gonna try to get to know somebody or date somebody and all we do is text. Now I can agree with you on that. I'm not going to sit and text every single day, and I really want to get to know you. I want to plan going on a date, and I want to see how you feel about certain things and hear how you respond to things. Of course I'm going to talk on the phone, but if it's outside of that and it's not like a professional phone call, then yeah, what's wrong with texting?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. I feel like if I'm just meeting someone, just getting to know them, I'm like, okay, I could text them and that's fine. But once I start developing feelings and feeling oh, this could go somewhere, I'll start investing more time into them. If they want a phone call, I'll give them a phone call. If they want to FaceTime for a little bit, I'll do that. I'm not going to invest time into someone I'm just I just started talking to, because time is valuable at the end of the day. All this time you're giving to someone that might not even work out with, you could be giving to your kids or to yourself or doing things throughout your day. But if you see a potential with someone, that's when you're going to start investing your time, your energy, and everything into them. So phone calls or texting, I feel won't even be an issue, because you're going to want each other's company. So whether you're texting or calling, you're still gonna get to know that person based on the way you feel towards each other.
Right. It has to be mutual,
Mm-hmm.
You shouldn't look at the phone and say, damn, he's calling, oh shit, No, it should be yay, okay, you guys be quiet, he's calling, shit. So I get it. I get both sides of it.
Okay, well, you know, y'all beat me up tonight, so you know, I'm
We are
gonna
something.
start texting more. So when I see you at work, John, across the floor, I'm gonna just hit you over the text.
Nah,
So
nigga, I'm a horrible texter.
I ain't want nothing, man. It ain't important. I'm just, you know, acknowledge your presence. I see you over there in booth 2044. So, but yeah, you know, the good thing about it is I don't know tomorrow who's going to be available and who's not. I know, and I say this because we're about to bring this to a close. Whatever topic you want to talk about, then just let me know in advance. I'll do a PSA on it. I'll put it because the only way they can see this is if I'm at home and put it on because I don't have access to this from my phone. Okay, so whatever the topic is, we don't need to rehearse it. You know, as I told you before, we just gonna shoot from the hip. And like I said, this podcast is growing. You know, look, I got John on board, you know, and me and you, John, didn't really set up and have some long conversation, you know, at work, you know, about some positive things, you know. So Erica, you know, me and you have had some good conversations too. So, and you too, Kawana. So the podcast is growing, and then I know we were talking about intertwining to build things. John, you were making reference to bringing some musicians on, you know, and stuff like that. And I just got somebody referred me to this thing called AMP for the music thing, the late night music thing. So my son to hook that up for me tonight, and then I'm to start doing that because you can't do it through YouTube because all that music that I want to play is copyrighted. And you know, like radio stations have to pay those people to play that music. So, you know, of course, I don't have the resources for that. So we're just gonna go through that thing. And like I said, some nights I can't do it. One of y'all gonna have to host. So whatever you choose to play, you know, that's what you choose to play. So
we got a lot of local artists with fire, bro.
Okay. We can do it. I'm talking about, you know, the platform was originally for about relationships, but you know, I think Kawana said this or suggested that maybe sometime we switch it up a little bit and do something different, you know, and I'm all for that. As long as we're getting the numbers in and people are tuning in, then let's do it. You know,
Right.
you know, I designed this platform for us, you know, not for me. You know, I'm not on here to get any personal popularity because I already have mine. So whatever y'all think is clever, let's do it.
All right.
So
good.
tomorrow's topic is what?
I mean, hey, there's so many relevant things we could speak about. But yeah, you know.
Okay, well, y'all pick the topic and let me know. I'll see John, I'll see you and Erica at work tomorrow.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you in the morning.
Yeah, you know, we'll talk. So whenever you're available.
Oh wow.
But you know what? I want to honestly, sincerely thank each and every one of you for coming on. You know, it was a positive, yeah, topic. You know, I'm talking about. I've never been engaged in a conversation where the opposing side, and I don't want to say that in a literal sense, but the opposing side has influenced me to their way of thinking. So with that being said, you know, it's always a pleasure to see y'all, to have you a part of this. And I hope you will continue to support the podcast so we can grow and then we can all learn something and share what knowledge we have because we all bring something different to the table. You know, so again, I thank you. I hope everybody have a blessed and safe night.
Thank you.
And,
You too.
Nice to meet you guys.
Tomorrow.
Bye.
Nice to meet you too. Catch you later.
Since y'all know how to log in, can y'all log in without me sending you an invite, or do I have to send you an invite?
You have to send the invite, I think.
For yours.
I mean, is that link gonna work every day? That same link? Because I could.
No,
It
Okay.
won't? Okay, well,
no.
well, I got y'all's emails in my in the system, so I'll just send you an invite earlier in the day,
Mm-hmm.
and then who's picking the topic for tomorrow?
Me.
You?
Okay.
Yeah, I've been thinking about it all day. It's gonna be interesting.
Yeah. Oh wow. Okay, I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, anyhow, we have 3 people, right? We need 7 more people on the panel.
Oh wow.
Okay. Well, no. Let me take that back. 6, 5, because we got Rocky and Lunchbox. So we need to get a couple more women, because I don't want this to be. I would rather have it balanced, because well, it's going to be kind of off balance anyhow, because you got 10 on the panel and then myself, so that's 11. So it's an odd number.
It's just a 10 period, counting you.
Well, I'm talking about, send me some people. You know a lot of people, John, and you do too, Erica, and you do too, Kawanda. So, I've invited people, and you're the first ones that accepted. Everybody else don't want to be on camera. I don't understand why, but that's their preference. So I got to respect that. So you people, I send my love out to you. I love you. I thank you again. Have a pleasing and a blessed night, and I'll see
Thank
you
you,
tomorrow.
you too. Bye.
Okay?
See you later.
Bye.
Have a
Bye.
good night.
All right.
All right.